Lightspeed, and where will your areas of investing focus be?
Well, Lightspeed, because they were investors in my last company, Virtual Instruments, and so I've known a number of the partners for the last 8 or 10 years. They tend to invest in areas that are very, very much of interest to me. And it's all around enterprise infrastructure related technologies. And so security, infrastructure, storage, all of those things are things that I have invested in either personally or when I was running Symantec, we acquired businesses in that space. So this is an opportunity for me to keep learning and to hopefully help the Lightspeed team along the way.
Are you concerned about the potential for increased regulation and how it will impact tech companies, large and small, but really as big as Facebook, as big as Microsoft?
Yeah, I think the recent incidents certainly have raised the issue of regulatory oversight, and there may be some that will evolve, but I wouldn't let that distract me if I was the CEO of a tech company. It's all about executing against the plan that you have in place. I think there is an issue that looms on the horizon for us, and that's all around privacy. And how are we going to manage privacy in a different way in a world where everyone is connected and the amount of digital content being parsed from that connected world is really, really significant. And so something is likely to happen. I just don't know what or when.
What would you like to see tech companies do about privacy differently than they are doing today?
Well, I think tech companies should respect the information about me or you.
But what does that mean?
That means they don't sell it, they don't share it, they do it in a way that's relevant to the needs of their business. Now, many of them make money off of ads, and therefore they have to kind of use that as a leverage point. But at Microsoft, we don't do that. We don't believe in that, and I think more and more tech companies need to think about what their policy should be around that issue.
So Facebook says over and over again they don't sell your data. They essentially rent it, though. And is there something fundamentally broken about that model?
I'll let Zuckerberg explain that to you.
So let's talk about the cloud, because 2 years ago you said you wanted Microsoft to move faster in the cloud. Where have you seen progress, and where would you like them to still continue to move even more quickly?
Well, I think it's part of the role of being the chairman of the board is to be impatient. And so my comment a few years ago was about that statement of impatience, if you will. The company's made phenomenal progress, phenomenal progress. Our commercial cloud business is doing very, very well. They've got a very, very strong IoT presence now, and they're doing a lot more in that space. And so
still behind Amazon in a big way.
Amazon was a first mover, and so it takes the second mover a little while to catch up. But I think we're making the kind of progress because our growth rate is certainly stronger than Amazon's at this point in time.
Should Microsoft be in acquisitions?
I'm sorry.
How bold should Microsoft be in acquisitions?
Well, that's a tough question. I think the company has an enormous amount of capital, and so they have the capacity to go out and acquire a lot of things.
Right, and extra overseas cash now as well.
Well, most of that cash is now back, and so the real question for Microsoft is not about the availability of cash to do acquisitions. It's more, how does an acquisition fit into what you're trying to accomplish? If you look at the Nokia deal, Steve felt very strongly about being in the mobile business, and therefore that was an important thing to do. If you look at the LinkedIn deal, Satya felt very strongly about being in the social media business, and LinkedIn has been a wildly successful transaction. So if we can do another LinkedIn, I'm all in.
So any areas in particular that you're interested in? I mean, obviously Nokia did work out. LinkedIn, you say it's working. We'll see, some time should pass.
Yeah.
But where would you like to see them?
Well, I think anything that strengthens our relationship between our cloud and a broad network of users. So IoT, doing commercial cloud things that for financial services or industries that generally have not moved to the cloud, those are the places that represent big opportunities for us.
What should Microsoft be doing to advance more quickly in the emerging world of AI?
Well, Microsoft has a huge investment in AI and machine learning. And if you look at the most recent restructuring of the company, we allowed Harry Shum to continue to run AI as a research operation, but we also integrated many of the functional components of AI into the operating teams that are driving the revenue day in and day out. And I think what you're going to see is AI and machine learning become a prolific or important part of, if you will, every single platform that Microsoft and every company in the industry has. AI will be the future of technology for sure.
And do you see the negative side of AI, or do you think it will be more positive? And is it up to companies companies to be responsible in the same way we need to be responsible about data and privacy?
Well, I don't think any of us anticipated 25, 30 years ago that PCs would turn into what they've turned into. And we couldn't anticipate that, just as we can't anticipate what AI might do. But what we do know is that the digitization of the world is accelerating. And so AI is going to have a more powerful impact than we might have ever envisioned 2 or 3 years ago. And we will know in a few years just how impactful that'll be.